This is the big arms fight from Sonic 3. This is my suggestion. This is what I'm putting in the ring. I'm gonna refrain from rating it, but this has a few things that I like about it, that it's got going for it. One, Genesis sound palette. That Yamaha FM synth chip always has some good crunchy sounds if you can use it right. There were a couple Genesis songs I listened to that were lacking in their use of. I leave and my hat changes position. Okay. There was that one song with the Genesis palette that basically sounded like a Nirvana song, like a late 90s, early 2000s sort of like pop rock kind of band. And and the parts were written out like that. There was definitely like guitar power chords. There was definitely like a dirty kind of like bass line. The percussion was very kick snare, like that kind of thing. This fascinates me as a song because the bass line, the only thing I can think to compare the bass line to is Cliff Burton of Metallica, okay? And the drums in this also metal as hell. Everything above that is sort of this weird brassy synthy texture, but very much doing a weird kind of metal line. I love this song. This is one of my favorite final boss songs of all time. It was between this and Live and Learn, but compositionally I have more to say about this. This is the like master of puppets of Sonic music, in my opinion. Let's listen to I'm gonna listen through to this once for vibes, and then again to break it down. Let's go. Big ominous chords right off the bat. Guitar synth kind of run up there. Glassy synth doing that. Just loops that. You get some extra arpeggiations in the background. And that bass line. And it's not in 4/4. It just... Now it is. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it does have a lot of these like 4/4 sections, but that one B section coming up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Like that. That's cool. We got those like bluesy kind of chords in the background. There's just like a vibe being created from this, and at the center of it, it's like a really like thrash metal bass line. Yeah, then we fade. Yeah, and those weird chords. Okay, yeah, I love this song. I love this song so much. Okay, but before we break that down, let me tell you something. I don't have a sponsor for this video. My efforts are funded by generous contributions from viewers like you through Patreon. If you want to see more of this, and you want to hear more of my stuff than anybody else can right now, go to case.dog/join, or click that link up in the card and become a Moonling. That's where you get to hear my unreleased music, get access to a VIP chat in my Discord where I post the evolution of my tracks as I work on them. You can get the master stems to my 100+ songs that I've put out, and there's tiers where you can see your name in a lower third in the video, which you're about to see. Thanks for listening, and yeah, I do have blue hair now. Back to the video. So we start in E. Already? That's, metal. right? That's 80s metal. So we get that second, minor second, or flat second, and then back to E. Very simple. That's what a lot of this is built on, right? So that's essentially power chords, right? Yeah, and then we get through that intro, and there's this bass line. And it's just so like grinding. Ah, yeah, it does this. That is so, what's happening on my... Different ones stay each time. God. Like, we have that whole bass line. That is almost the same exact rhythm as the, like, main riff of Master of Puppets. Where's my pick? This is probably not in tune at all. And everything about that, even the intro, like... It's very evocative of like early metal. That's the like flavor of doom that they're going with here. That's how they get across the like threatening aspect in the early 90s, is do like some weird like open power chords with some extra. It's that note. The extra notes are the kind of things that would ring out if you were just sloppily doing power chords. That going into... That is basically the same, like, rhythm. It's so similar to that, I hear it so thoroughly. What is the Doom one? That's... Both of those definitely feel like they borrow heavily from... It's just the same, like, rhythm and accent. You can definitely tell, like, the inspiration and the era that this game came from. And... like, you can compare other things that came out in the early 90s that had that same sort of influence. Yeah, the Doom E1M1, like, people compare that with, like, Master of Puppets specifically a lot. I just want to, for musical context, we hear the Rickroll chords a zillion fucking times, okay? I'm giving you one where you can hear metal through it in a Sonic game. I've only talked about the bass line and percussion so far. There's the rest of this track upwards is structured very much like a dance track. We have like an instrumental like hook kind of thing. It's very dissonant. It kind of reminds me of the Lavender Town thing. What the hell is it? So essentially what we're doing is following down the chords. So we hit like a E5 here from E to B. Then we jump up to this implied G here, right? And do the same kind of power chord thing, and then. So we're spelling out the fifths. And as we do that, we give it like we do like an E minor 7, it says here, right? Then we do the same thing with F sharp, and we reach down to that root as it hits it in the bass, and then jump up an octave. Yeah, so this whole thing is actually just simply spelling out fifths along that kind of chord progression. And it sticks to that as the chords up here are doing that, like that thing, the bass, the notes that the bass is accenting are actually those, like, fifth notes of what the upper chords are doing. Yeah, so all of this is actually composed to be accenting a root or a fifth of that falling chord progression. And that is very simple, and just by way of it splitting out some of those notes over melodies, it sounds way more intimidating than if you just were bashing those chords over and over again. The bass is pedaling on E the whole time, and sort of implying that these other things up here are just sort of extra flavor to the E. But at the same time, like, everything around it is just sort of leading into the chords and accentuating the chords and not using complex intervals to do so. And yet, even though every motion in this is so simple, the leaps and the jumps in the melody as it moves through those different chords make it really engaging, even when it loops over and over again, right? And that does loop for several times. Many times it loops. So we are basically being contained within essentially the root, implied to be also the third, but from the third chromatically down to E, that's our scale, right? For this A section. And there's this little thing that happens in the background. Yeah. Yeah, like that. It's doing something like that in the background. And that's just sort of like extra flavor. It also happens a few times. Doesn't seem to change with the chords. And there aren't many chord changes. It's more like a metal track where it's just fast riffing through a few close and dissonant sounding chords. And then everything melodically just sort of follows that motion. It's doing that. It's riffing, right? More than it's making sweeping chord motions. But that is again, that's the A section. It's built up like a dance track with a metal bass line. Okay, there's 3 main sections in the song. Here's the second one. It actually does have some chord motion. Okay, and that's easy. It's a 1, 7, 6, 7, 1. goes back up to 7. So, yeah, that's fairly easy for that part. And also, the thing is that those big 1, that kind of stuff happens a lot in metal music. When something goes into like a big open chord thing, those are a really easy and safe thing to do. Because if, you know, playing them on guitar, it's just 2 frets away. And again, we're in the key of E. You know, so like that helps out. This is so very much written like a metal track. It's crazy. Okay, what is that chord? Yeah, no, I think it's just that. So we have the tritone of E, and then its minor 7th with it, basically as constituent parts of those chords. So it's a very dense, very clashy kind of chord. Then we get back into that. Okay, this part I didn't go over. Or is this just actually that? Okay, so this also does a 1, 7, 6, 7, 1, and then it starts going up. And then it does that thing. God. Yeah, so the bass is, you know, doing like a... doing this like kind of sus4 thing here. Carries that down, and then just kind of sits on C. And so like that section, the bass is sort of just following, it's throwing some funky, you know, fourths in there, but it's mostly following the chord descent as it's happening, running up and down the chords, arpeggiating up and down, but in the same, accenting the same kind of rhythmic notes that it does in the A section, working in similar patterns, right? Yeah, and then that brings us back to the A section. I love that. It has this big, like, triumphant kind of rise, and then it just hits you with this crunch, and then now we're back to... Now we're back to that. I love the composition of the song. What's mostly happening through that other melody... It does that same E sus4 thing. Hits the D up here when this hits the D here. Draws a D5 when it hits the D here. So it's all really simple melodies around the chords. It's just that they follow around the way that the chords move in like an engaging way. Not doing a zillion arpeggios up and down, but keeping what it does do within those like harmonic spaces interesting, and doing it, you know, sometimes if you hang on something longer, the next note that you go to will be different than what they expect if we're in a different chord than what you would usually hear. Sometimes hanging back and doing less notes makes the melodic jumps between all of the, you know, the root changes more engaging. Especially if you have a super fast like rhythm and bass section under it, doing some crazy like Cliff Burton shit. This is the pinnacle of like sonic boss music for me. I don't even really remember the final boss theme from Sonic and Knuckles, but I love this one. I love it so much. And right quick, I'm gonna look up, if I have not convinced you, this is the version from Generations. You can hear those. Yeah, those. It's just putting the third intervals up top. I like that. Jun Sonoe on guitar. I could vibe to this all day, but I got more songs to do. But yeah, as simple as it is effective. If I were to give this a rating, even though this is my bias, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. I love it. Every aspect of this song is like up my alley, you know? I love how metal the rhythm track is, but how big and cinematic and foreboding the melodies up top are. Even though they're all composed, the whole thing is composed in a way that you would expect metal to be, right? This is a metal track. At the start of this, I called this the Master of Puppets of Sonic boss music, because it just has that same like vibe to me. It's great. This was the peak of Sonic boss music. Live and learn and open your heart, come close. What I'm made of comes close, but this is it for me. That's the Big Arms theme from Sonic 3. What a stupid name for a boss. What a stupid name for the best Sonic boss. That's why they just label it final boss music. Because Big Arms, what a god-awful name for a boss. But that's it, because the final boss got big arms. Yeah, I know they were on a crunch. All right, how do you think I did? If you like the analysis, hit like. If you want to see more stuff like this in the future, hit subscribe and the bell to make sure you see when new videos go up. Let me know what you think. Is there anything you think I missed or glossed over? Let me know in the comments. I would love the feedback. I'll see you next time.